Microphones are on and you're recording, so you should be good to go. And everyone.
Thank you, Aaron. Well, everyone, welcome to this evening's council meeting. City of Anamosa City Council agenda, regular session Monday, July 13th, 2026, 6 p.m. Anamosa Library and Learning Center. 1.0 roll call.
Crump.
Here.
Smith.
Here.
Shada.
Here.
Weimer.
Here.
Dan Smith.
Here.
Bert.
Here. Note all 6 council members are present in chambers. 2.0 Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have a large crowd in attendance this evening. So if you haven't already, please silence your cell phones. With each agenda item, I will ask the public if they have any comment on that agenda item. At that time, if you care to address the council, you need to come to the podium, state your name and address of residence. You will be limited during the council proceedings to 5 minutes. I ask that you refrain from any obscene, slanderous language, as it will not be permitted. We all need to remain civil this evening. If you're coming to the podium, that means you are directing your inquiries to the council, not to the public. This is a business meeting for the city council, elected officials to conduct business. This is not a place to grandstand. You can do that outside of this council proceedings. 3.0 consent agenda, review and approve. There are 4 items listed. I will read all 4 off, after which council can make a motion that includes the word consent, which will bring all 4 up for discussion in a single vote. Or council can make a motion on any of the 4 items. Item A, minutes from the June 22nd, 2026 regular session. Item B, current bills. Item C, liquor licenses. Item D, Noise Street closure permit applications.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Agenda.
Motion by Kay,
Second.
second by Dan. Council, the motion including consent, so all 4 are up for discussion. Is there any public comment on the 4 items? Kaylee, would you please conduct a roll vote?
Smith.
Yes.
Shada.
Yes.
Weimer.
Yes.
Dan Smith.
Yes.
Bert.
Yes.
Crump.
Yes.
Consent motion to approve carried. 4.0 postponed items, unfinished business. 4.1 resolution 2026-37 approving settlement agreement between Jones County and the city of Anamosa with respect to the Dillon Military Bridge and case number CB007902. I'll call for public comment. Council, are you looking to take action?
Need a motion in a second right there before we can discuss.
Yes, council, are you looking to take action on agenda item 4.1?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Does this end up to be a final decision, or could eventually the group that wants to save the bridge come back in and try to make some plans and arrangements to do that?
Mayor, I'll make the second so we can begin discussion.
Motion by Rich, second by Todd.
Your Honor, I can address that if you'd like.
Please.
So the group that wants to save the bridge still has every legal opportunity, if they wish, to approach the city and the county and buy the bridge if they wish. And that was what the proposal was, to buy it and remove it, take it to Wisconsin, refurbish it, and do whatever they wish to do with it after that. That's not precluded by the settlement agreement. What the settlement agreement says is that we resolve our issues with each other, that is the city and the county, and that if nothing happens with this proposal that the citizens want to do, if they don't actually come through and make a solid proposal and the city and the county agree, then we would proceed with our contractual agreement on the settlement and we would end up tearing it down. Right. But that's going to take many, many months before that gets to the point where any work starts on that. There has to be engineering studies done. There has to be all sorts of review. And I've spoken to the county attorney about it. He has stated to me that the Board of Supervisors are open to any proposal. And I understand they've already been approached and talked about with it. But they are definitely wanting to approve our settlement. They want the litigation over. We want the settlement agreement approved. We want the litigation over. And what that does is it gives you as public servants a fail-safe and a backup plan that we're going to end up having to take this bridge down because it's a nuisance right now if the citizens don't do it. Right. And, you know, you can agree to anything you want. You can even aid the citizens with public funds by selling it to them. Right, for a certain price, or we could even put our funds toward getting rid of it if they want to own it. Mm-hmm. Right, and we may actually end up saving money if the county does the same thing. So all those options are still on the table. Just because we settle our case doesn't mean it necessarily is going to get cut up with a cutting torch and gotten rid of, because they will wait and see what they get in terms of an offer. We will wait and see what we get in terms of an offer after the settlement. But at least we'll have our litigation over and we'll have an agreement between the city and the county that we have a backup plan to go ahead and remove it at our public cost if the members of the public don't come up with a plan to take it on themselves. Right. I mean, ideally, what you'd all like is to settle the lawsuit with the county. And then these folks come forward and say, well, if you pay X amount, which may save us money, we'll go ahead and remove it. We'll get it refurbished at our expense. We'll raise money over however many length of time it takes over and above what we pay them. And we'll go ahead and we'll put it back. You know, we'll rededicate it back to the public. They could do that, and that would be a great result. But none of that is precluded by settling. I just want to make it clear that just because we settle this litigation and we agree we're going to tear it down and get rid of it, that's going to take a long time. There's a long off ramp to get to that. Right. There'll be many, many months for the citizens to come forward with whatever proposal they want. But right now, we as public servants, we have this litigation and you know, we have a bridge that is clearly a nuisance that isn't safe to walk on. We have to do something about it. And that's what this litigation is about. So I would encourage you to pass the settlement and just keep an open mind toward the citizen proposal, because they may come up with something brilliant. You just don't know until you see. I mean, we've seen some details, but what we haven't seen is any money. Mm-hmm. Okay. So, and we may want to, like I said, we may want to offer some of our public funds we were otherwise going to spend to destroy it to them to help them do their project. And if we can do it for the same price or less, what difference does it make to us as long as the nuisance is removed? Mm-hmm. And it may come back as not a nuisance anymore if they do what they promised. Yeah, if they take it to Wisconsin or wherever they're going to haul it and they rehab it, and it's safe, and the engineers all say it's good to go, we may end up with a solution down the road that satisfies everybody. So,
Pat, the way I understood it, it was be rehabbed in place. They didn't think they could move that bridge.
Yeah, and that's to be discussed later. I mean, if they want to rehab it in place, that's going to be a whole different, more complicated thing. Because if they're going to do it in place, then they would be taking over what would essentially be a public project if they did it. And they would have to own it. And our concern there might be that, it's sitting there as a liability while that happens. And we can't let it sit for 6 years while they try to rehab it in place either. We would have to have the beauty of the public project is we have an end date. We know it'll be taken care of. So but that's to be discussed, I think, down the road after the settlement's over. You know, they will have to come up with a solution, but that wasn't what was communicated at the last meeting. That may have come up later.
So Pat, if somebody does come in and wants to buy this bridge, who are they buying it from? If we pass this.
Well,
settlement
the
agreement?
city and the county would both have to quit claim their interest in it in the sale. They would have to say, we're the ones that own it. And we would have both probably have to agree. At a minimum, the county would have to contribute whatever their half of it is under the settlement agreement, I suppose, to come to an agreement. I have not spoken to Chris Lyons about the details of that, so I can't speak for them. But that's something to be discussed, I think, after our settlement, about how that would all work if they wanted to approach both county and the city.
So Pat, if, as I understand it then, or Mr. O'Connell, excuse me, as I understand it, then it would be possible for the city to offer money to a private entity to assist in their project, and there's no issue with city funds being expended to a private entity?
Well, I hesitate to give legal advice in an open meeting, but generally speaking, under Iowa law, if there is a public purpose for our expenditure, right, and we would have had to spend the money anyway, and we contracted with a party to take care of something that has to be taken care of by us. Generally, our courts are pretty lenient on that, and I think our legislature is too. With the, our Constitution is pretty clear that we can't give away public funds, but we have to have a public purpose, and our auditors will want to know what that public purpose is. But we would definitely have a public purpose here, where we have an engineer's report that says it's dangerous and can't be used and needs to be either rehabbed or taken down.
But within the contract of purchase, we could identify the public purpose then.
Which I would definitely think we would do that. Yes. If we ever came to an agreement with the citizens, we would have to have something like that in there. And I'm sure that the county would have to assess it from their side too, especially if they were going to contribute any funds to it.
Thanks.
So,
Thank you.
Well, with that, Todd, the one thing I would say, I would want an accounting of how that money is spent. Just so we have record to show, because of this public funds, how is that money actually utilized?
Well, and given the current murky waters as to the bridge itself and who owns it, I would agree with that. We need to have a paper trail.
the other thing I want to mention is that we really need to stay within the scope of tonight's chapter 21 announcement, which was that we were going to discuss the settlement.
Got it.
It's somewhat relevant to think about whether there's any, the only reason I made that comment is just to make the public aware that you can always come to us, even if we settle our case and plan to remove the bridge, to propose that we do something else instead. But I don't think we want to get into the weeds about what any deal like that would look like tonight, because we didn't put that in the paper. We didn't disclose it on our chapter 21 notice or anything. So we got to stick to whether we should settle this litigation. And I'm saying we should, and that we should take this issue up, a public proposal at another meeting once the settlement is done. And we have a concrete method of dealing with this problem taken. We have it now. We have that concrete method established.
So if we approve this, are you thinking 12 months before anything happens?
You'd have to ask whoever the county's engineering firm is going to be for the project, how long it will take them to mobilize. But from what I understand, it's not going to happen next month.
Yeah.
It's going to happen months down the road. And I think we have a 2-year window on this to get it completed.
Yes.
So it's, there's a lot that has to happen. And if
they're getting close to getting a proposal in, it could be maybe postponed a little bit.
Sure.
Finalize and get that portion looked at and finalized.
I would assume that if both the city and the county believe there's a way to save some money on this to allow the citizens to take it, that would be attractive. I don't know that because I haven't seen what the citizens would propose or where they would get the money from or how much they would ask from us to do it. But I would assume that if it makes sense, you would do it as a council, right? It makes financial sense later after our settlement to do something different than what's in the settlement, and the county's in agreement as well that you would accept that as a possibility in lieu of carrying through what we agreed in our settlement.
You might have said this already, Pat, but I'm just gonna, just for everybody here. A no vote to this would be, make it be tied up in court. Could be quite a while.
Right. Right. And it would also forego an excellent opportunity to do everything that the county offered to do. You know, it would be off, it may be off the table, the settlement may go away, and we'd have to go litigate for 2 years to figure out all of this out all over again. So that's why I'm saying I think we really should resolve our litigation issue with the county and have this agreement with them so that we have a plan in place to deal with the bridge if a citizen proposal doesn't come forward that you folks agree with. Because I think the citizens would admit that they don't know for sure how that would all shape out and where the money would come from right now. And neither do you. So now we have a plan. And if we settle this, we definitely have a plan and we have a timeline under which we'll take care of this. We probably should get that nailed down right now if we are serious about dealing with our public obligation here.
Are we able to amend this contract at all, the settlement agreement?
I mean, amendments to settlement contracts have to be mutual. What you have in front of you is what's agreed. So we cannot amend it tonight. It wouldn't do us any, because then the county would have to make the same amendment. There's no guarantee they would do that. And I wouldn't recommend changing a word of it right now tonight. Like I said, though, if the county and the city agree that it makes sense to accept a citizen proposal in lieu of carrying through on our agreement, parties can mutually do that anytime they want. Be like if I sold you my car for $3,000 and then before you took delivery, we both agreed, let's not do that. You got a better offer. And in fact, I think I'll keep my car after all. You can always do that. I think that would work here. You know, we would just say we have a deal, we have a contractual agreement, we're going to carry through how we're going to deal with this bridge. And then in 6 months from now, we get a fantastic idea from some of the citizens and they present a contractual proposal that it makes sense to everybody. We could always agree to that and never follow through with what our backup plan is.
Thank you.
Council, any further discussion at this time? I will ask question, please give me a moment. I will now go to the public for comment, but it will be limited to the agenda item, which is solely the approving the settlement agreement between the city and the county. That's it. Further discussion outside of that scope can and may occur under 8.0 public comments for items not on the agenda. If you do address the council on the settlement agreement under 4.1. Again, I remind you to direct the inquiry to the council. Why that is proceeding, I ask that there be no public discussion amongst themselves. As I noted earlier, this is a business meeting for council. At this time, is there any public comment on agenda item 4.1? In an orderly manner, please come to the podium, state your name and your address of residence.
My name is Joshua Ludley. I live in Olin, 302 Harlan Street in Olin, working here at the dam. I've been in contact with Julie throughout the week, and we had the meeting and this is Julie with NSRGA Working Bridges. Yes, this is gonna pertain to the settlement.
I'll give you the leeway. All right, so also, the microphones are not microphones for the meeting. They are for the recording that is going on. So speaking up into the microphone won't magnify the conversation.
Okay, so this all does pertain to, and you know, you did give me some hope in what some of the things you're saying. You know, we had a meeting at T&D after the last city council meeting, and we got a lot of community together to talk about a plan. Plan
I
of,
understand how this relates to
well,
the
because
approving of the settlement agreement between the city.
where I'm going is this going to lead to a question I got in regards to settlement.
To the question,
It needs context, if that's okay.
sir, since I have been serving in this capacity, I have never been dismissive to the public, and I hope it is not thought that way this evening. The council proceedings have to operate within the boundaries of the law,
I understand.
and we are leaning hard on getting outside those boundaries. That doesn't put you in the crosshairs, but it does me. So limit the discussion to the settlement agreement.
Okay, I guess my question would be this. Is it possible with that settlement to have a different agenda rather than the removal of the bridge being the ultimate outcome of the settlement? Could that be considered to, if there's a strong proposal on fixing the bridge with all the criteria that you need to make sure that it's safe to walk on, safe for the public, it could be, and I know you guys are voting on that tonight, but my biggest question is, if that proposal is to fix the bridge, could there be a new settlement that goes toward fixing the bridge rather than removing the bridge?
The agenda item is the settlement agreement and the proposal that the county sent to the city. It has been reviewed, it had been amended, and in a sense, as much as it could be agreed upon by two parties, it has been decided to move forward with it as it was documented, which is what we have before us this evening. So, as the city attorney pointed out, the public can bring any proposal to the city and to the county, keeping in mind that it is a two-horse race at that point. It's just not the city's decision. It is also the county's. It's somewhat disappointing after the last council meeting that there was no attendance at the next day's county supervisor meeting. They have as much skin in this game as the city does.
Yeah, I 1000% agree. In my mind and thinking in this, I believe this is a project that needs to have the city council support, the community county support, and the community support. This is something that everybody needs to come together on. And I believe in this proposal that, and I don't know, and I get what you're saying. I know, and some of the people here on the city council were not there at the team meeting, but I know some of the county officials were there. So they did get this information. This information has been given to them. Last I did not speak with anybody, but I have spoke with Julie with MSRGA Working Bridges, and she's been told that it's not being put on the agenda. Now that's something that
it can't be on the agenda. Currently, the city and the county are in litigation. Period.
Correct.
So we have to we need to change that course, and that's what this does. it also does include the proposal by the county to remove the bridge. That is, I don't want to say it's the end game, because the council will be listening to your proposals. But it is the end game for the litigation. That is what the county has proposed. That's how we get there to end the litigation, which is due up in the courts yet this month.
My
It's
con-
very time
Sorry.
sensitive, so if you think we're rushing it, it's because it has to.
that's not how I think. I try to keep a very fair mind to everybody on this. You know, there's things that are way outside my pay grade. But I guess my ultimate worry though is, say the settlement does go through and the plan is to remove the bridge. You know, that's the plan. That's plan A. And he mentioned earlier, was, you know, that could become plan B if we come up with a proposal, you know, but that's big.
Correct. You're correct. It is plan A because that's the only plan we have and we have to resolve our litigation. So to answer your question, you make that proposal, we wouldn't change the settlement agreement. We'd still have that agreement. We'd still plan to get rid of the bridge if nothing else comes timely to us to give us a better option before we have to execute on our agreement. So the answer is you would not interfere. We would not put in the settlement agreement that goes to the judge, right, when we dismiss the case, anything about any proposal from the public. But you would be free to bring that to the city council and say at a later date, let's say next month, here's what we've got. We've got a concrete proposal from an engineering firm that can remove the bridge, that will take it away, sandblast it, whatever they're going to do, repair any of the structural issues with it. And if you remove the bridge, your time frame for working on it is infinite, right? And you can raise money infinitely till you get all the money you need if you do that.
Well, from what
So nothing would prevent that as long as that's what you chose to do. But it would not impact what you're saying tonight and what you would, even if you brought a concrete proposal here tonight, we would still approve our settlement agreement.
I kind of worry about the settlement agreement a little bit, because my thing is I do understand that this is a little late for some people who are coming in and seeing this stuff, you know, like that you guys have been at this litigation for a while. However, I stepped into this to help get word out more, not realizing that the bridge being taken away was actually going to be a reality, maybe. You know, I think a lot more people are becoming more vocal and want to speak out about it more, because I don't know if they feel like their voice are really being heard when it comes to the removal of the bridge. Like, why was that the option first versus, because it comes on to go just get a hold of a nonprofit organization who's given smaller quotes on what it would cost to fix it. So I guess my ultimate thing is, I think, I can't speak for all the community, but I know with Julie's RGA working bridges, her idea was maybe that you guys would sell her to the bridge. She comes in, fixes it, you know, not removing it. You know, the idea, because those transmission lines that go across there, that could possibly cost a lot more money. She gave a quote of about $500,000, you know, but not to like drift away, but there is a strong proposal, and we discussed in a big group in the community about if we can get the city and the county. Because I understand, like you were saying, the county is very important in this as well, and it's not just falling on the city. But if we can get the city and county behind it, and you guys put the fixing it, and obviously you guys would need accountability of where that money's going, like you mentioned, you know, and then we've talked about as a community how we would form an LLC in a way to help fundraise and do crowdfunding to keep this bridge and pay off the rest of it. Julie said she just doesn't want to own it forever, you know, but if we were to come up with the LLC for the called County Bridges.
I'm not trying to cut you off. Sure as heck is going to appear to be that.
That's okay.
You extended the 5 minutes. I really need to limit you, so you're gonna have to.
But I do want to respond to one thing. Our plan A was to refurb the bridge. In, I believe it was June of 2025,
June 9th.
June 9th of 2025, we had a meeting with the supervisors. We voted to refurb the bridge. They denied that request.
But did you have a plan?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
had engineered plan, we had it all laid out. We made the motion, we voted on it, it was unanimous to refurb the bridge. That was our plan A.
Hmm.
They denied that request.
They being the county supervisor.
They being the county.
Do you mind if I ask why?
You'd have to ask them.
Well, the stated reason at the meeting was they didn't have the funds.
Okay.
And honestly, we didn't either. We just thought that if we could raise funds through grants or whatever over time, and it became very apparent that that was not realistic.
Mhm.
We can't, I mean, our budget is difficult just to pay our officers, right?
Understand.
We need to pay salaries of police officers. We have road projects. We have all these massive crushing priorities that if we fail in those, people are going to be a lot madder at us than they will be about the bridge. That's the truth. And that was what the council decided. And that all happened at that. But we decided at that meeting that if they would help us raise funds and all that, and they just said, we don't think that's realistic. We don't have the funds. We don't believe we're going to be able to raise it. So their offer to us was very low to try to get a match. So that's what ended up in the litigation. We had to establish that both sides had ownership. We had to share responsibilities equally. So, but it would be wrong to suggest the council isn't sympathetic to what you all are saying.
I don't think so either.
Because it was. Everyone in this room voted, except for our new person, voted that we should try to refurb it first. And we struggled with that for a long time before the litigation. And then finally we had to go to litigation. So all we're trying to say is we need to settle the litigation. But if you have a proposal that's concrete that the county and the city like, you should bring it forward.
Yeah,
At one
absolutely.
of our later meetings this year and tell us what it is, because, you know, even if we settle our litigation and we start the reels in motion to get rid of the bridge, it's going to take a long time for that to start. So you got time.
Well, Bob Julie did send that to everybody after, you know, and I believe it should be in everybody's hand. If not, I mean, let me be your voice and we'll get it to you. That's,
Can I address one thing that he said? You made the statement that you weren't for sure that your voice was being heard or everybody's voice being heard. I can guarantee.
oh, I believe it. I mean, I started a page for the bridge and it's definitely been vocal. So thank you.
Philip Bonifazi, 706 South Carnivale, Anamosa. I only had a couple of questions, and I think you've answered one of them. And that was on the scope of the settlement agreement, that it was for destruction of the Dillon Military Bridge. And the other one, you know, was if this settlement limited the county's compensation or levels of compensation for that cost of demolition. Are we privy to the resolution? Is it something the community can look at?
It's posted online.
It is, okay. And do you have an answer to that question? Is it a 50-50 share? Is it
Yes, it's a joint venture.
just for the cost of demolition and clean up and liability? And
There's an yes, estimated cost of that, but there's permits that have to be obtained. You know, there's so many unknowns.
okay, can I ask you what that dollar amount would be for county share?
It isn't known.
The final one isn't, but he said that they did give an estimate of the cost of demolition.
Well, they gave us a rough idea that it would be less than what we were considering at the
For
time.
demolition.
Right. That's the reason why it was attractive to the county is that they had a contractor they felt could do it for less than what everybody was considering. So
No.
I
It's
don't
not
remember
a,
what it was, but it
is
was,
it a not to exceed figure
No.
or? Yeah, but it's considerably less than the county's, and this might be hearsay, that the county had offered $200,000 to the city at one time and we turned it down.
correct.
That is correct.
We did.
And it's
we-
considerably,
that.
it is considerably less than that.
I don't know how the math would turn out.
I see how. some
I'd be
of that math is
surprised,
true.
honestly, but the only thing the agreement says is sharing of cost equally. The city and county agree to share equally the cost of the entire project required for removal of the bridge, including any permitting costs. And then it carries on about when we have to reimburse, once they submit costs and so on.
Yeah, I just don't want, I understand you've got a hard
In other
load
words,
of
if it's $1
litigation.
million,
Excuse me?
both sides are taking the risk that if it's $1 million, because we find out there has to be some EPA study, or there has to be there's a species in the river that has to be protected or something that no one expects, right? We just never know. So everybody's kind of gambling that the cost of the project will be affordable.
Yeah, and I'd like to think that it's the heart of the council and the city and the county's governmental bodies for the historic and structural preservation of this bridge. It is a gem, and I'm just really taken aback that we got another historic gem over there that he was able to go out online and find such a viable solution. A real quick internet search of that box steel, you can see a 28-page portfolio listing their clientele's names, phone numbers, email addresses. Be a real simple thing for a city administrator to go out and see how valuable that was. So I don't know what work's been done in the past. We as a community may not have stepped forward with an independent group to take over the responsibility of our government bodies, but I'm very disappointed in that. So I do have the highest sense of respect for every council member, the mayor, city administrator, city attorney, people present. And I do want to trust that it's your heart to preserve that bridge. Because I don't want to see John down there chained to that bridge when you go to destroy it. That's probably what'll happen. So thank you.
Really quickly before anyone else jumps up, we do have a city's engineer on Zoom and she would like to explain the process of permitting and whatnot, just because it could help clarify some stuff for people, could answer some questions. So sound is going to be from the TV.
Hi, this is Melissa Clow with HR Green. I just wanted to share with you the cultural resources process for the removal of a historical bridge. It does typically take 9 to 18 months to simply permit the removal of a bridge. For a historically significant bridge such as this one, it generally results in an adverse effect under the National Historic Preservation Act. And then one of those steps in the assessment of effects is actually marketing of the bridge. So before that historic bridge can be demolished, federal guidelines typically require that it be marketed to see if local, state, or a private entity can take ownership and relocate or preserve it prior to its demolition. So this is actually included as part of the steps that need to be taken to get the permit for removal. So, to get the nationwide permit, once even that 9 to 18 months is over, is still an additional 45 to 100 days. So, we're looking to a year or two to actually permit and get approval for the removal of this bridge, with a step that includes the selling of the bridge to a private entity. So I think the fact that there's a proposal out there could shorten this timeline a lot and help us move forward with a resolution, even with council accepting this and completing the litigation process tonight.
Melissa, do you know, this is Councilman Weimer, do you know if under that particular funding source, if there's pending litigation still present while that process plays out, does that affect the timeline on approval of any permitting?
That I'm not sure of. I think we have to have that litigation taken care of before we can move forward with the owner going ahead to start the record source and the agency review and all the different steps that the cultural resources study requires.
Well,
if that makes sense.
Just my brief involvement with the law, my understanding is you can't sell anything that has pending litigation. Makes it difficult to sell things, correct? Maybe you can't answer that, Melissa, but I'm pretty sure it makes it.
Yeah, and I'm just looking at it from the permitting aspect. I would look at the city attorney for that response.
Thank you, Melissa.
Also, do you have any questions from Melissa why she's still dialed in here? Thank you for Melissa. I'm sure you'll stay tuned in.
Yep, you're welcome.
Council, public, do you have any further comment?
My name is Renee Edler, 2245 Copper Drive in Marion. I lived here in Anamosa for 16 years prior to our move. As everyone has stated here, how historically significant this bridge is. And with the fact that there was an officer that died on that bridge, that officer was my brother. Okay, I understand the financial aspects and everything of this. But what I'm asking here is for everybody to work together on this. That bridge should stay where it's at. That bridge should be preserved for everything it's worth. If there is an offer, as was stated prior, that, you know, with the budget for Anamosa being tight, that budget and that private entity be allowed to purchase at whatever price. And I'm asking for you guys to take into consideration not demolishing this bridge. It means too much to the community, and it means too much to the family of all that we have lost. And it's not right. It was hard for us to accept when you guys cordoned it off so we couldn't be there to pay our respects. And I understand it was due to the safety risk. I get it. I accepted it. But with you, I thought at first when all this came out that this was going to be an argument to save that bridge. When I found out that it was even being considered for demolition, it broke me. And I haven't felt that in the last 15 years since my brother died on that bridge. Now it's been said here that you consider the bridge a nuisance. Okay? You got to stop and think that I understand everything that goes into rehabbing it, making sure it meets qualifications, whatever. But if there's any way between the city and the county that this bridge can be saved, I am asking you to please think about other things than just the monetary. About what it means to this community, how historically significant it is, and how my brother gave to this community for numerous years. It shouldn't be all wiped away. It should be refurbished to where the family, if nothing else, we can have our time to be on that bridge and come to peace with what happened. It should be taken in the historical value. I myself, being a family member, have told them if they need any help whatsoever when it comes down to the funding, coming down to the helping of scraping the bridge down for whatever, anything that's needed, that the family would be there. Monetary wise, it seems this is what this is all focused on. And it needs to have a broader aspect looked at it. I ask that if you're going to make a determination on this bridge, for everything to be put together and not just look at the monetary aspect of it. There are people that love being on that bridge. There has been people that have been up on that bridge since the day my brother died. That has kept them from doing the same thing. It's calm, it's peaceful, and you can sit there and you can get your life together. You can bring your thoughts together in a quiet area. And that shouldn't be taken away. That should be something that should be saved. Those are the people that it could save. There's a broader aspect than just the monetary value or lack thereof. I'm asking for you guys, if you want to do this, please take the offer that Julie and the organization is offering and leave the bridge as it is and let them rehab it, refurb. I will go out of my way to take out a second mortgage against my home if need be, to help save this bridge. It doesn't come down to just, well, what is good and what isn't. There's a broader aspect to it. And I hope that you would all take that into consideration of what you would be taking away from the family and the community.
Also, Copper Drive here in Iowa. The name David Reachess might not sound familiar to you, but it should. David Reachess was not only my best friend and uncle, but a beloved police officer in this town, as well as in Monticello and Cascade. David also spent time working for the Anamosa Sheriff's Office and the K-9 unit with his dog Lucky, totaling 16 total years in the city's law enforcement. October 3rd, 2011, after what I can only assume was years of struggling with his mental health and silence, he committed suicide while on duty as a cop in this city. And he did so on the Wapsie Bridge. The very same bridge that this city he spent so many years serving now wants to demolish. For the city, this bridge is a dollar amount. For us, it's the last memories of our beloved father, uncle, son, dad, and cop. Not alive. For us, it's a place to go when the world feels too heavy, and we just need a person who always needs space to hear about our worst moments and support us through them. For us, there is no dollar amount that could hold a flame to the importance of this bridge. I remember when the time rolled around in high school to take senior photos. I also remember what it felt like to not have my best friend by my side to watch this huge step towards the rest of my life take place. But I also remember the peace I felt taking pictures on that bridge, knowing if there was one place in the world he could see and hear me clearest, I was standing in it. I can imagine that his oldest daughter felt the same way, also taking our senior pictures, standing in the same place. However, David's youngest two children are not yet old enough to get that same peace, standing in the same place. I ask of you to not rob them of that by tearing down what they have left of their father and his legacy. This bridge holds David Reachess's story. I'm begging of you not to stop telling the story of the person who gave his life to serving as a cop of this city. He deserves better. And I ask you not force us to lose the only thing we have left, allowing us to keep him close when there are people willing to do what it takes to keep this bridge alive for many more years to come. This bridge is more than pieces of wood and a dollar amount. It's a life.
John Brooks, 105 East Main Street. Correct me if I'm wrong. The way I understand this, if the council votes yes to take the bridge down and the supervisors vote yes to take the bridge down, we are open to take ownership of it. Is this true, Pat?
can always make an offer.
Well, that's what I mean.
Yes.
We're open to, we can do that then.
Nothing in the law prevents us from coming to an agreement with a private buyer. And as Melissa pointed out, it's part of the process anyway.
Okay. So,
So if you want to attempt to buy it, you're certainly free to do so.
okay.
And
So,
under whatever terms you want.
okay. So, two votes to tear it down, the supervisors vote to tear it down. So next council meeting, can we come in with a proposal and vote on it?
You can propose anything you want and the council can place it on the agenda.
So we can do that.
You can.
Okay.
And the council's only stipulation might be that we need something more concrete to consider if you provide something and it isn't clear what you're asking or what you're wanting or what your proposal is.
So if we took the money from the county and the money from the city and put it in the fund or do it like that there, then whenever we took money out of it to pay for whatever we've got to the bridge, then we send a receipt to the city and the county.
Well, I don't know that I can get into the details of what the transaction like that would look like. Tonight, it's not on the agenda, but I don't think the council can discuss that with you tonight, but
it's a possibility.
Anything is possible. I mean, anything you want to propose will be considered and the council knows what the public wants. I mean, the council's well aware of it. The council wanted to do what you're talking about initially. So you're not going to be, none of these elected officials are going to say, oh, we don't want to listen to that. They all want to listen to that. So, and I'm assuming the Board of Supervisors probably feels the same way. I mean, if something is proposed that makes sense, they're probably going to do it just like what we would.
Okay.
So,
all right. Thank you.
I think I probably have a minute and a half left. Philip Bonifazzi, 706 South Cornerville.
Did I give you the freedom to readdress the council?
Thank you.
Limited to one.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. And, you know, we seem to have missed that $200,000 opportunity at one time, but this settlement, apologies for not knowing about it. Does it state there's a shared ownership still? Have a percentage of ownership, anything like that on the ownership in that?
that issue is hotly disputed. And I
So this is just a resolution to wash the county's obligation and wash the city's obligation by demolishing the bridge for a shared total cost.
correct. And
So it does not answer the question of
the city's
ownership.
proposal was that we agree that we are 50-50 owners, like it says at the 2080 agreement.
Yes.
And they said, we're not willing to stipulate to that as part of the settlement, but we will stipulate to take on the project and do the work. And that's how the settlement came about. Share the cost.
That just seems like a real loss in giving up their 50% ownership and responsibility for this project. And I know there are difficulties in going forward. But if an alternate contractual agreement is presented to both parties, that both parties must sign off on to totally limit the city's and the county's liability on this project, that would be easier to negotiate monies from our end if that percent of ownership the county had wasn't given up so freely and cheaply, you know. We said earlier opportunity, and so if you don't see any way that we can, as a city attorney, that we can protect the city's, I would like to think, and I'm certain we all have the same goal as current city fathers and past city fathers, and for the future city fathers of taking care of this, and also taking care of that we have for a bike trail path and keep citizens safe going across that public highway up there. But as a city attorney, do you see, is there a better path just to protect that to our interest as a city? I know the desire to wash your hands of this. I mean, like I say, it's been ongoing. I wish the bit of efforts we had recently had been applied by city administrator earlier. I think we'd be way down the road, but.
Well, the city administrator worked steadfastly on this issue to begin with.
John found a good solution pretty quick, internet search.
Well, Jeremiah had 3 significant solutions, right? One was more expensive than the middle solution. The middle solution was more expensive.
I've hired engineers for proposals, and I know there's a big CYF factor in those that just don't make it realistic and understand the liabilities and those concerns. So I'd like to see that our attorney has really looked at this and make sure that we're not just giving up ownership for a little half cost of a demolition, and we kind of are privy to what that cost would be, sans any discovery of a mollusk down there that is super valuable by the DNR. But so if you have given it due diligence and counsel to this city council, administrator and mayor, I would feel better.
Well, as city attorney, I handled the litigation I was directed to handle. And I did my due diligence on the litigation. This is the best settlement that we were able to reach with them. And it achieved more than what a judge decision would have. So,
except for the
city is in a better position because of the settlement.
We turned down.
May I respond here, Mr. Mayor? So, Mr. Bonifazi, you've implied that there has not been due diligence. You've implied that we've given up $200,000. Since my time on the council, I went back to check. There have been roughly 30 months of meetings that I've been on this council, and there have been at least 12 meetings that involved discussion that was publicly listed in every agenda. So there's been 12 times that this has come up. I was also present for the June 9th joint meeting, which our city attorney properly addressed. This council did not vote at that time to dismantle the bridge. We voted, we listened to the people. I kept track. You were even one of those folks that spoke at that. We didn't vote at that time to destroy the bridge. We've tried every possibility not to destroy the bridge. There's not one person on this council that has decided that we want to just blow up the bridge to blow up the bridge. So the issue that you're bringing up, I respect your opinion as an engineer. I respect your opinion as a citizen, but we have been diligent in our efforts to try to do what we can for that bridge. We have not contested that we have an ownership interest in that bridge. We have tried to hold the county to their burden in it. So to tell us that we've given up $200,000, we haven't. We've actually tried to be fiscally responsible with the money that the citizens entrust us with. We have many other obligations that we have to be aware of. So,
and I can understand why you would make that decision. Don't misconstrue me. I understand why you made. Go ahead.
I will respect your opinion, and you can disagree with me, and anybody else in this room is free to disagree with me. But to tell us that we haven't put the effort in, and to tell us that we haven't been listening to the voices, we have. I attended the meeting with Julie, with Mr. Ludley. I learned things at that meeting that were important, and I respect that opinion. And I do wish that there was a way that I could wave a magic wand and come up with $100,000 just to give to the bridge. But at the end of the day, my responsibility is to think about all of the obligations that the city has, and the bridge is an important thing. We recognize that. Every story that I've heard, I have respected John Dirks for years beyond just the bridge. So I appreciate the passion for this, and I have done a lot of considering of what has been stated, but I can't sit here and listen to the implication that we don't care, because we do. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And that's all I have too. Just, want you pressing into this one because it is very important to the community. And I know it is important to the council too. Thank you.
Mr. Weimer, and I'm sorry, Mr. Attorney, what was your name again?
Mr. O'Connell.
Mr. O'Connell. That proposal, you mentioned if the community could produce a concrete proposal. You've seen the proposal, I assume, correct? Has everybody on the city council seen the proposal? Is that what you would consider a concrete proposal?
I think it's a start toward a concrete proposal, and I would go on the record today saying if there is a way to get that proposal across the finish line, I will very gladly consider us assisting that process, because it is not a matter of destroying the bridge to destroy the bridge for destruction purposes. It is getting it into the hands of people that perhaps may have a better method of keeping it intact than just leaving it up to a government agency. So I would want to see firmer numbers. I would want to see the proposed plan moving forward as far as what steps would be taken in segments of time. Those are the things that I would be looking for.
By chance, could you provide me with a list of some concrete things that you would need to make that more?
I certainly can get you information. I don't have pencil to paper at the moment, but sure.
Absolutely. I think that we as a community, it's important, to have our city backing, because I understand county has to be on board with it as well. But that's about as concrete as we can get, and if you feel like there's more stuff that we need to have to it to make it more concrete, then let's do it. I'm not afraid to get on that phone and start making phone calls, and I grew up in this community. Two of my family members were actually mayors of this town at one point. I have no problem getting on the phone with people and asking for community support. So that's all I want to ask.
John Dirks, 105 East Fifth Street. I have an appointment with a representative from Grassley. I have another appointment with a representative from Body Arts. So we'll see if I can't get something worked out with them. Thank you.
Thank you, John.
2245 Copper Drive, Marion. If it comes down to where we're looking at plans and that's what's on the table and we're not looking at anything else, I can start making phone calls myself to every police department in any of the surrounding counties, because every single county came to that bridge that night that my brother died. And I'll see if we can get crowdfunding from the police departments as well.
Ed Weber, 23-131 County Road E34, Anamosa, Iowa, 52205. Litigation. That's what 4 was about. So, I don't know the way I got it, but the city took upon themselves to get a so from Green, the condition of the bridge. And they hired a firm from East Coast. And sent, they got a bill. Sent off the bill to the county. Was that what started the litigation?
That was a separate and distinct dispute that happened well before the litigation.
I see.
They brought up that under the 2080 agreement, we were supposed to submit any proposed bills like that to them ahead of time for approval, which the council acknowledged they failed to do. Right? And they said, but you still ought to reimburse us because it needs to be done. And they said, no. And then many things happened after that before the litigation. So it's
What actually started
I
the
would say
litigation?
related, but it doesn't have, it didn't start the litigation.
What was the litigation started about?
When the city proposed that we split the cost of whatever was going to happen with refurbishing the bridge. And they said, not only no, but no way. And the only interest we have in it is removing it.
Well, ownership was,
Ownership was the
Well,
driving
The
factor.
other aspect of that was they notified us that they wanted to terminate the 28E agreement.
And what was the 2011 agreement?
What is it?
Yes.
It's an agreement between two government entities. So it just spells out that at that time, who had ownership, who was paying, how the process was going to work. So they notified us that they wanted to terminate it. Once they terminated it, they said they were going to walk away. That's when we kind of went to the lawsuit to say, you have 50% ownership.
So you send them a bill that they had known nothing about, and then they retributed by litigation.
Well, they came back with, we want to terminate the 2080 agreement,
Which you certainly didn't want to do.
which we don't want to do. And if they were going to terminate that agreement, even though in the agreement they acknowledge partial ownership, they were saying they had no ownership. So it was just a matter of saying, you have ownership, having a legal entity say you have ownership.
And that's what's going to be decided in district court.
Right.
The litigation, I think people tried to get in touch with all these different animals. This room, and nobody could get an answer because everything was in litigation. And actually, it was suggested not to talk to anybody because you were in litigation. But legally, you actually could. Is it illegal to talk to somebody in litigation?
No. Generally, we will not discuss it though, because we're in litigation. And that
Exactly.
could be deemed an admission against the city's interest, and the county would say the same thing.
Mhm.
So that's why. It doesn't mean you couldn't approach a city council member and say, I want to buy the bridge. Would that matter to you? That certainly could have happened. Right. I wish this document that we've received, I wish we'd received it a year ago, because that would have mattered a lot to the council at the time. They would have said, whoa, now this is interesting. We may not have ended up having a litigation with the county over it, because it wouldn't have come to a head, but it did. And now, I just want to bring us back to the agenda, which is chapter 21. What we have on the agenda is whether we should approve our settlement agreement with the county. And we have to. The trial is 8 days away or 9 days away. If we don't settle it, the entire agreement that we have is out the window, and we're going back to the court again over it. So one thing at a time, let's get our litigation over with, and then we can discuss with the citizens whether they would like to buy it. That's the steps that have to happen in order. If we're just being orderly and legal about this, we have to fix the litigation first. Then we can consider at a later meeting whether we want to sell the bridge or we want to do something with the citizens. That's all we're saying. I don't think anybody's disagreeing that if you can find a way, the council's more than happy to listen.
Very fine.
I'll be back at 8:20.
Bill, I'm gonna deny, you've been
Could
to
I-
the podium twice. now.
Could I? Okay. It would just be brief.
I,
I would just
not at all, Bill, please take a seat.
8:20, Phil.
Hi, I am Roxanne Tapke and I am from Martell, Iowa. The bridge means a lot to me, but a lot of it is, I understand where all you guys come from because I sit on the council in Martell and it's very hard to deal. But a lot of it is, my concern is when you say the litigation, so does that mean that the county and you guys, we would all have to go to the county too and do the same proposal, correct? If it goes, is that what that litigation means, that it's going to be equal partners?
Well, I would tell you that you should that if you form a 501c3 or you're a citizen group or whatever, that you consult your own lawyer about whether, if you want title to it, what would we need to accomplish?
Okay.
Right. Probably a lawyer would tell you that if there's any potential that the county has an ownership interest, you'd want them to acknowledge they're relinquishing that and giving title to you as a group.
Okay.
I think that's what a lawyer would tell you. Like, I'm not giving you legal advice, but it's a complicated transaction when there's multiple public entities that may have an ownership interest in it. Whether the county acknowledges it or not, I would be concerned when there's a 2080 agreement that says they do. Right.
Right. That's right. Because that's what that 28 agreement.
So
That's what it's.
I
They
agree with you,
do.
what you're
We do
saying.
that with the fire departments too. That's what we have to have. So there's an agreement between the city and the counties. That's what you have to have. Well, a lot of it is, so you think that like there's a meeting tomorrow with the county supervisors. So people should go there tomorrow and do the same thing we're doing here.
Yeah,
Okay.
and my understanding is they want to get this over with just as much
Yes,
as we do.
They do. Yeah.
You do what you want, but it might be more appropriate at a later meeting of the Board of Supervisors, once the settlement's over, because then you would want to present your concrete proposal.
Mhm.
Tomorrow, it's not going to be on their agenda.
Okay.
This is.
Yeah.
Like the same problem you're having here.
Right. It's not yeah. Okay. But it's in an open forum at the end.
Correct.
So at the end, you can speak, your open forum. Thank you, guys.
I ask you, what would it take as a community to put a say on demolition, to allow our community to do what we can to make this bridge a memorial for a fallen officer that is worse than Kennedy?
I think Miss Melissa Quall with HR Green outlined that permitting could take 18 months. This isn't gonna happen 18 minutes after the city and the county, if we would both pass.
That wasn't my question.
You wanna know how long?
No, my question was, what would the process look like to put a stay of demolition?
Time, you would have 18 months.
I'm not asking how long. I'm asking what that process would entail.
We haven't looked into that.
You'd have to consult your own attorney on that. If you wanted to try to intervene and try to cause a city government and a county government not to act on a settlement agreement that's approved by the court, that's a question for an attorney.
Has the city looked at the aspect of that there's an officer of your city that died on that bridge? Have you even looked at that aspect? Have you gotten a hold of the police department and figured out what they can do to help make sure that this bridge doesn't go anywhere? Because you're saying that you've done every avenue, but I have yet to hear anybody talk about how any of the police department maybe not able to make things different. You say that you checked all of these different avenues, right? That this wasn't your first choice, but I have yet to hear that that was ever even considered. Did you know that an officer died on that bridge prior to the demolition?
Sure, please.
Is
I'm very aware of what happened on that bridge. I was working for the city and went down and took care of the mess on the bridge. I watched that bridge go through the flood. I was in a boat this weekend looking at that bridge. I worked down there for almost 15 years. I love history. This book right here is nothing but history. We have nothing but, we've tried everything we can do, but our partners within this,
including talking with the police department.
I haven't talked to the police department, but our partners,
Don't you think that that should have been done first?
just hear me out. Our partners within this whole E28 agreement are refusing to work with the city. We had a joint meeting here. I made the motion to save the bridge. We all voted to save the bridge. Did you not hear that?
I did hear that, but I'm also hearing you say that the city is declined, but then you just turned around and said that you haven't spoken to the city, being the police department. The police department is a part of the city, was it not?
No disrespect, but there's been a lot of history on that bridge besides what happened on that bridge.
Police officer should come first.
Any additional public comment for those who have not spoken?
I'm Jan Legg, and I live in Townsend, Tennessee, but I own 108 East Liberty Street in Anamosa, Iowa. I just have a couple of questions. I think it's interesting that there's no dollar value in this settlement, and that feels like it puts the city at risk, that it could be 200,000, or it could be, because of all the processes and procedures you go through, it could be $2 million. That feels like it puts you guys at risk for a totally unknown amount of money. Have you thought that through?
Of course, we've thought about that.
Okay, so what does that mean to you?
They have as much incentive to keep the price down as we do. In the settlement, we agreed that we would use their contractor. And their contractor was assuring them that they could do it for the price that both sides could afford. Both sides took the risk that the price could be more than what we hope it is, right? This is what happens in litigation. Sometimes when you settle and you don't know exactly what something will cost, both sides take the risk. But we were also well aware that they weren't going to do anything ridiculous on their end either. They have just as much, the citizens of all of Jones County have just as much stake in this as the citizens of Anamosa do. They represent the citizens of Jones County. We represent the citizens within our corporate limits, right? Both sides took that risk. And that's what happens sometimes. Yeah. And I agree with you. It's a risk.
I think it's interesting because
to the citizens of Jones County at large.
Well, actually, it could be a benefit to the citizens of Jones County, or us, because as that balloons up, your ability, your willingness to pay that much gives you the ability to have the counterweight of if their demolition bill was $900,000, then that was potentially what they were going to give you guys, right? So if that balloons up, that might, if we wait a while and see if it balloons up, it might raise the number that they can put on the table for us, right?
Exactly.
So I think that's an interest. I hear that you're on you want to make this happen, but if that happened to balloon, it's going to raise the opportunity for the people to get more contribution from you. Potentially. So I just wanted to make that point. And the cost of delaying the settlement, you said in 8 days, then you have to go to court, and then there's more litigation after that. That's the emergency? Okay. And then finally, have you talked about a public-private partnership? So it's not just you guys, or not just the people? Has there been a conversation about a public-private partnership?
Well, not until we got something concrete. I mean, when the initial discussion happened at the council meeting, that's what we were hoping for. We were also hoping for grants. And part of the problem was not only were we slammed by the legislature when they told us our general fund would not increase, we're limited to 2% growth in our general fund. The legislature did what it did. They are very distrustful of localities. Whatever you want to say about the legislature, they trust themselves to spend our money, but they don't trust Anamosa to do it.
Right.
So they're telling us not only do we not have enough money we just got done with an intensive bargaining session with our police, and our concern was we don't want them fleeing to Cedar Rapids for better jobs. We need them here. We want to pay them a good wage so that they want to work here. We had that problem. In addition to the cuts on the growth in our general fund, we had that happen all at the same time. Then when we were looking into grants, it looked very difficult to get these grants, right? We lost hope in getting these grants. So we had all of these things converge all at one time
Right.
as this litigation was proceeding, trying to get the county on the hook to pay half. So you can see how all of that happened. And these folks on this council are working their tails off, trying to get, they wanted to do exactly what all of you in the audience are wanting. And it just wasn't physically possible. Now you've come forward with an idea, which I think everybody here wishes it had gotten concrete like that last summer, because then it would have given us a lot more options, right?
But it
You just didn't have it at the time.
Yeah.
You're to be applauded for getting your forces marshaled and coming up with an idea, but we just have to resolve this issue first, and then we can talk.
Well,
if
this
that's what you wanna do.
might bring value to the city, to the people, to have a bigger budget line item coming from the city. So anyway, there's always a silver lining. Thank you for letting me speak.
Any further comments? Council, is there anything further to discuss? There was a motion by Rich, second by Todd, to move forward with approving the settlement agreement. Haley, would you please conduct a roll vote?
Jada,
Yes.
Weimer,
Yes.
Dan Smith,
No.
Kurt,
Yes.
Trump,
Yes.
Kate Smith. Yes.
Motion to approve the settlement agreement between Jones County and the City of Anamosa carries 5-1, 5 in favor, 1 opposed. 4.2, resolution 2026-38. Resolution approving the preliminary plat of the Cuba Second Edition subdivision in Anamosa, Iowa, resubmitted.
I don't have anything significant to note on this. I believe the council got my notes on it. This was approved by the Planning and Zoning Commission and the City Council back when it was first submitted. It basically, we ran into a timing issue where in order to get the final plat approved, we needed to do that within 12 months. We did not make that deadline, so we just need to resubmit it. Nothing has changed on the preliminary plat.
Second.
Motion by Kay, second by Dan. Further council discussion? Public comment? Haley, please conduct a roll vote.
Weimer,
Yes.
Dan Smith,
Yes.
Kurt,
Yes.
Trump,
Yes.
Kate Smith. Yes. Jada,
Yes.
Motion to approve resolution 2026-38 carries. 5.0, council action items. Resolution 2026-39, resolution authorizing and approving an amended and restated loan and disbursement agreement and amended and restated sewer revenue bond.
Move to approve resolution 2026-39.
Second.
Motion by Rich, second by Brian. Council discussion. Public comment. Haley, please conduct a roll vote.
Dan Smith,
Yes.
Kurt,
Yes.
Trump,
Yes.
Kate Smith. Yes. Jada,
Yes.
Weimer,
Yes.
Motion to approve resolution 2026-39 carries. 5.2, resolution 2026-40, approving the appointment of Voigt to the Library Board of Trustees to fill the term ending June 30th, 2029.
Move to approve resolution 2026-40.
Second.
Motion by Rich, motion by Kay, second by Rich. Council discussion. Public comment. Kaylee, please conduct a roll vote.
Kurt,
Yes.
Crump,
Yes.
Kate Smith.
Yes.
Shada,
Yes.
Weimer,
Yes.
Dan Smith,
Yes.
Motion to approve resolution 2026-40, appointing Derek Voigt to Library Board of Trustees carries. 5.3, resolution 2026-41, setting salary for fiscal year 2027 for appointed employee of the city of Anamosa, Iowa, and establish an effective date for this resolution.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Dan, second by Brian. Council discussion. Public comment. Haley, please conduct a roll vote.
Dan Smith,
Yes.
Weimer,
Yes.
Shada,
Yes.
Kate Smith,
Yes.
Crump,
Yes.
Kurt,
Yes.
Motion to approve resolution 2026-41, setting the salary for fiscal year 27 for appointed employee, city of Anamosa carries. 5.4, resolution 2026-42, setting the date for the public hearing to approve and adopt the Anamosa Comprehensive Plan 2026-2036.
Move to approve setting a public hearing for July 27th at 6 p.m.
Second.
Motion by Rich, second by Todd. Council discussion.
Is this online so folks can look and find out what it says if they so choose?
It is, yeah. I think the steering committee was also sent a copy of it or a link to it. And I believe planning and zoning as well.
Library also has a hard copy for anyone who wants that.
Further council discussion? Public comment? Jeremiah, stating that it is available online, you are referring to the city's website.
That is correct.
Haley, would you please conduct a roll vote?
Weimer,
Yes.
Shada,
Yes.
Kate Smith,
Yes.
Crump,
Yes.
Kurt,
Yes.
Dan Smith,
Yes.
Motion to approve resolution 2026-42, setting the date for the public hearing to adopt the Anamosa Comprehensive Plan carries. 5.5, review and approve donation of Grant Wood themed benches to be installed at various locations and request for installation assistance. Cultivate Anamosa.
If you have any questions, I can try to answer those. The folks over at Cultivate Anamosa are nearly, have reached their goal. They are looking for some projects, various projects, and kind of narrowed it down to a few different things. One of the things that they would like to do is have these, have IPI create these Grant Wood themed benches. We don't have to worry about copyright because they're not actually Grant Wood paintings, but they're just replicas or similar. And the map that I've included in here is where they want to start their first round. All of them except one is on public property. And so I've advised them that they would have to get the school's permission to do that. But the remainder are along trails or at the Parks and Recs property. No cost to the city. No immediate cost to the city. They are wanting to donate these, and the only request that they asked was if the city would be willing to donate our time to help pour a concrete slab and get them put up. So I told them if the council approved this, I think we could probably manage to do that part of it. It doesn't sound like it takes a lot of effort to do, but they would pay for it.
Just a quick question. Whose responsibility is it to maintain them? going forward?
Yeah, so we talked about that. I attended their last meeting just briefly. They're looking to get them ordered and in place before Pumpkin Fest, but the lifespan is 5 to 7 years. They're suggesting or recommending that they would be responsible for replacing them after that period of time. No agreements in place at this time, though, just their initial recommendation.
I'll move to approve.
Motion by Rich, second by Kay. Council discussion. Public comment. Haley, please.
Jada,
Yes.
A. Smith. Yes. Crump,
Yes.
Kurt,
Yes.
Dan Smith,
Yes.
Weimer,
Yes.
Motion to approve the donation of the Grantwood themed benches to be installed carries. 5.6, review and approve fiscal year 27 street improvement projects not to exceed 212,000 as approved in the fiscal year 27 budget. Shane Brown.
Does the council have any questions about this? This is it's that time of year. Shane is getting ready for his, primarily his overlay projects, concrete. We budgeted 260, roughly 260,000 in this year's budget. The River City paving came in under that. And gets, I think, all the projects we had planned this year taken care of.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Todd, second by Kay. Further council discussion. Public comment. Haley, please.
A. Smith. Yes. Crump,
Yes.
Kurt,
Yes.
Dan Smith,
Yes.
Weimer,
Yes.
Jada,
Yes.
Motion to approve fiscal year 27 street improvement projects carries. 5.7, review and approve change order number 1 from Cornerstone Commercial Contractors in the amount of $0 for the downtown facade revitalization project.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Todd, second by Dan. Council discussion.
What's the purpose of a $0 change order?
They ran into some electrical issues. They changed the scope of the work, but it didn't change the cost of the work. So they submitted a change order for it.
Okay.
But your guess is as good as mine on that one.
Other questions? Public comment? Haley, please.
Crump,
Yes.
Kurt,
Yes.
Dan Smith,
Yes.
Weimer,
Yes.
Jada,
Yes.
A. Smith. Yes.
Motion to approve change order number 1 carries. 5.8, review and approve change order number 4 from Chick Fry Excavating in the amount of $5,245 for the Cedar Street reconstruction project.
This one does have a cost associated with it. This is for drainage issues that they ran into up on Cedar Street. Had to put in, I don't recall how much pipe they had to do to replace this, but
Shane Brown, Street Superintendent. So, when we finished the project, we realized that there was an understanding on the sidewalk. Come back and some tile and a drain. So it's not sitting. So it was requested by me because there's a pond there for them to go back and fix this.
Have taken care of the issue then.
That's what tonight's about.
what you're saying is none of the work has proceeded yet.
Yes, it has to be approved to start.
I'll move to approve.
Second. Motion by Dan, second by Todd. Council discussion? Public comment? Haley, please.
Kate Smith. Yes. Jada,
Yes.
Weimer,
Yes.
Manson,
Yes.
Kurt,
Yes.
Crump,
Yes.
Motion to approve change order number 4 carries.
I have a
Do you have a comment?
Yeah, I just gotta ask a question, because this is Cedar Street, so it's also on. What street he's talking about? Also. So what's the various? So top of it. Put the ground on it, just slow it down. Well, it's to down that, so that ground is coming up. That's where- so it's close to what's going
Can you, it's not on the agenda. Can you talk to me after the meeting and I'll get you squared away?
Okay,
If
that's
that
fine.
works for you.
Yep. Just wondering, because I figured they were tied in because it's the same
Right.
street area, so I just wanted to.
Different things. Yeah.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Thanks.
5.9, review and approve purchase request in the amount of $1,600 for new playground equipment at Monroe Park. Total cost of $8,100 before donations.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Dan, second by Rich. Council discussion. Public comment. Haley?
Jada,
Yes.
Weimer,
Yes.
Dan Smith,
Yes.
Kurt,
Yes. Yes.
Kate Smith.
Yes.
Motion to approve purchase request for playground equipment in Monroe Park carries. 5.10, review and approve consent agenda, pay request totaling $296,136.05. There are 5 items listed. I will read all 5 off, after which council can make a motion that includes the word consent, which will bring all 5 up for discussion in a single vote, or council can make a motion on any of the individual items. Item A from Cornerstone in the amount of $49,751.50 for the downtown facade revitalization project. Item B from HR Green in the amount of $4,516.75 for municipal engineering services. Item C from HR Green in the amount of $1,739.90 for the 3rd Street Sidewalk Trail Extension Project. Item D, pay request from Jones County Secondary Roads in the amount of $231,908.63 for expenses related to the 4th Street X31 joint project. Item E from Chick-fil-A Excavating in the amount of $8,219.27 for the Ford and Huber Sanitary Sewer Project.
Move to approve consent.
Second.
Motion by Kay, second by Rich. Council discussion. Public comment.
I'm still Ted Weber, 23-131. E35. What is the 3rd Street?
Well, it's referring to the 3rd Street Sidewalk Trail Extension Project.
What does that entail?
3rd Street from, I guess, 3rd Street comes in at Scott out to the city, end of the city limits.
Yeah, nearly. Basically extends out to the trailer court.
And you're planning on building a sidewalk?
That's correct.
You don't intend on using a traveled lane.
Using a travel lane for,
But closure of a travel lane to use for bicycles and pedestrians.
there will be two bicycle lanes on either side of the roadway.
A sidewalk.
Or they can use those traveled portions on the edges as well.
No,
Shouldn't, no. The lanes,
Yes.
I believe 10 feet, but I'd have to check the specs to be sure.
10 feet. So, 10 feet. That's what we need. So this is going to be a done deal here when you vote on it.
It's already a done deal. We've been talking about this one for 4 years,
So-
nearly 4 years. We're procuring easements and moving forward this year with it. We've had several public meetings about this. And again, basically we are waiting pending approvals of easements, DOT bid letting, those sorts of things.
So, we're taking down 2 lane basically.
3 technically, but yes. Two lanes going in either direction and a turning lane.
Just curious.
Thanks.
Any other public comment? Haley, please.
Weimer,
Yes.
Dan Smith,
Yes.
Kurt,
Yes.
Crump,
Yes.
Dave Smith. Yes. Sheila,
Yes.
Consent motion for pay request carries. 6.0 City Administrators Report.
Just 2 noteworthy things for this meeting. I will be out of the office the remainder of the week at a IACMA conference, the Iowa City Administrators Conference. And the chamber wanted to extend a thank you for all of our assistance during ridiculous days, primarily for Shane and his crew, but there were several other entities, including the police department, water, sewer, and city admin involved as well.
Thanks for that report. Council, you have any questions for Jeremiah? 7.0 Mayor and Council's report. 7.1 Mayor's report. I do not have a report this evening. 7.2 Council reports.
Park board met. And the baseball season's finishing up. Young Aviators was a very successful program, and Marshall talked about maybe doing another one toward the year now. Pickleball leagues are starting up. They talked about Monroe Park and the fields, and one of the things you see there's standing water underneath the shelter area there. Talk about maybe working something out, get that drain a little bit better. Jeremiah did come and gave a talk about open meetings law and municipal planning budgeting requirements. And that's pretty much it.
Thanks, Brian. Anyone else? Eight point zero, public comment for items not on the agenda. If anyone is looking to address the council at this time, please come to the podium, state your name, your address of residence. You will be limited to 3 minutes. it will be for items that are not on the agenda. So anything the agenda previously discussed, does not fall under 8.0.
Bill Bonifazzi, 706 South Granville, Anamosa, Iowa. Again, thank you, council members, for your patience on the bridge issue. And I just think it'd be a great good faith effort for the council to consider in discussion, maybe with yourselves. I'd love to see like City Administrator Jeremiah Hoyt on a city private, just as council, just to know where the city is. Maybe the city, I'd love to see the city attorney's input too, as to where we as a community can go and to pull together to try to get this bridge saved. And you guys are amazing. And I think we can all pull together and get this done, you know. So thank you.
Would just say that if you folks are serious, our county partners will be important to address.
I did.
Because these folks in this room will be.
I believe one of the council members spoke that it probably wouldn't be advantageous at all to go tomorrow, and I understand that's probably the case. And you're
It
right.
might be premature tomorrow.
Yeah,
but you'll want to talk with them because of the fact that they may want to.
I worry that their hearts aren't in it as much as the city's heart is. And that's my only fear earlier, that we might be giving up, you know, if we could have negotiated a different percentage and still, you know, to reduce their percent share or something. But, you know, that point's all moot now. I think the city's got a big heart for that bridge. The county probably has some heart for it, but, you know, not as much. Maybe some down the road, a memorandum, you know, on the voting, you know, the county can share something like this, but you know, there are other bridges in the county too. And it's just gonna be harder to fight that battle, I think, with the county at this point. So I'd love to have the city's expertise in the city administrator and the city attorney on this one. You know, and I understand there's some, you know, have to respect boundaries and stuff, but if you're on retainer, you know, if you've got any, can give any input, shared efforts, all pulling on the same rope. So thank you.
Anyone else like to address the council?
Yes.
So, I mean, last city council, I'm brand new to this kind of ordeal, and knowing that I have a voice here, and the kind of role I've taken on with the bridge is I have strong love for it, and learning that you can use social media as a means to bring people to something like this and give them a voice. I mean, I think you guys have seen some people in here speaking out about the bridge a lot more, maybe recently than in the past, but last proposal Julie made, or last council meeting, Julie made that proposal. I've been looking into it, and I thought it was a pretty strong proposal. And like I said, I'd like to get with you, Todd, if you can get me that list and whatever we can do to help make that a stronger thing that you guys can look at and be like, okay, I can get on board with that. That'd be my main mission, and hope to help you guys get on board with that. And but I don't know what to do with the county. Like Bonifazzi was saying, I don't know. I just hope that, I guess my biggest thing, and I think a big trigger for a lot of people, is the word destroy the bridge just doesn't set well with anybody. And you know, it's very I don't know. You got whatever I can do to help get community support behind the city and even the county, if we can all get on board with it. So I just want to keep that bridge. That's it.
I want to address you, Mr. Ludley. I think Ms. Legg made some very valid points tonight. I'm not in a position to commit anything other than I believe that everybody sitting at these tables here is impressed by the efforts that your group or groups are making. And I certainly am going to be on board with listening to anything that makes sense for everybody to try to save the bridge, but to move the discussion forward today to get some urgency a little bit more, I think that we're taking steps in the right direction. I think if the group that I saw at the public meeting at TND that was held after the last council meeting, I think that there's interest there. And so I think if that can be something brought before this, that we will all give it very much consideration to try and do what we can to support that.
That gives me hope. And I forgot what else I was gonna say. That gives me some hope, you know. I just hope we can all get on board and save this bridge. I think where there's will, there's a way.
There's no one else who likes to address the council. 9.0 adjournment. This evening's meeting is adjourned. Thank you all. Sir.
Talk to them more about it.